Again, it's been a while. I apologize about that. There's been a lot of real life stuff going on that's just been getting in my way. Um, so, but hopefully, a lot of that stuff is either going to be fixed or has been fixed. Um, so, first thing I should probably tell you guys is that work is pretty much the same. However, I ended up see what happened was a while ago, about 3 months ago. I hurt my ankle, and I don't know how I did it, but I almost want to say it probably happened at work somehow. But the thing is for a while, because I didn't go to a doctor straight away because, well, as you guys probably know, the doctor I'd been to for years retired. So, and well, first she moved. She moved to a different clinic, so I started going there. And then she retired, and so I kept going to this clinic, and I just wasn't getting good uh good um service, I guess you call it, you know. Um and eventually I was just like, I need to find somewhere else. So I found a gal and set up an appointment, transfer care and all that. So I went and saw her in April, and she was okay, but I wanted to have her like x-ray my ankle, like take a look at it, like actually see if something was legitimately wrong with it or not. And all she did was wiggle around a little bit and then say, "Oh, it seems to be fine. It's perfectly healthy. You just need to lose some weight." And I'm like, wouldn't that be both my ankles then if I was just overweight, which, by the way, I know I am, you know? And so, well, and the worst part about the whole thing was it seems to be the worst when I'm at work, especially at the end of a 7 or 8 hour shift. Because then I'm just like, I need to sit down and I need to sit down now. Um, when that was part of the problem at work was they weren't letting me. For a while, I was using one of the, because we have those chairs with wheels in our break room, and I was using that for a little while, and it seemed to work pretty well, especially since, because the way our shelves, I mean, you guys have seen shelves at stores, they start off high and then they go, usually there's 4 or 5 of them, and once you get down to here and below, it's like I could hardly bend over at times to try and get stuff or try and move stuff forward. And so for a while I was using the rollaway chair. Well, somebody apparently complained. I still don't know who it is, and I don't need to know. That's fine, whatever. Um, but so some complaints have been filed about that. And so Mike there for a while, my store manager was like, "I'm sorry, you can't use the chair. Not until you can get this disability form signed." And the funny thing is, I'm not disabled. It's not a disability. If anything, it would be a temporary disability because I want to get better, you know? I want to get to the point where I can walk and sit and all that and do all the things I used to do without feeling like my foot's about to fall off. Um, so what happened was, um, I finally was like, I've had enough. You know, this doctor didn't say anything, didn't want to do anything. I'm gonna go see somebody else. I'm gonna get a second opinion. So I called the same clinic that this first gal worked in, and just told them the situation. I was like, can I please see somebody else? And they were like, well, yeah, you can, and they, you know, said, what times are you available? And we worked something out. So what happened is I went to see this other gal, and she was worlds apart from the first gal. She was very nice. She was very polite and asked all the right questions, and all that. And she have been going. They have like a X-ray blood work station right down the hall. So I went there, got looked at, and she called me back the next day right away and was like, "There's nothing. There's no tears. There's no fracture. There's nothing like that." And she was like, "We just think what happened is you probably injured it somehow, and then it either didn't heal properly or it hasn't healed yet. And being at work on my feet for 7 to 8 hours doesn't help." And so she was like, "First off, we're going to get you doing some physical therapy." And so I'd never done that before, so that was fun. I got to kind of go be a part of that for the first time just a couple days ago. Went fine, and she gave me some exercises to do. But then she was like, "You're not disabled. So don't worry if you're." Well, and she didn't say anything about the work situation, but I kind of had the feeling that it was like, if your boss gives you trouble, give him my number. And so I went in, and and the other thing what I had done is I had gotten really super frustrated a couple weeks ago, and we have a hotline at work that you're supposed to be able to call when you feel like nobody's taking you seriously, when you've talked to your manager or whatever, and nothing's been solved satisfactorily. So I was like, I'm gonna do it. So I went and called. I spoke to a person and told them the sitch, gave them details and all that, and they gave me like a number, so I could call back in if I needed to. And then, and here's the funny thing. Lately, they've been giving me 3 days off per week, and it's all smack in the middle of the week, which is one reason why I'm home today on the 4th of July, because they can't, what's the word? They, they've never given me a holiday off before. I didn't have the holiday off last year, but they've been giving me Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday off because we've cut back hours, and so I've been so I've had those days off. Well, I got to actually do 4th of July type stuff. And as a matter of fact, just got back from going to a get together, a bunch of mom and dad's friends from the church they go to now and the church we used to go to. But anyway, so mom dropped me off because, my ankle. and I need to rest it and all that stuff. So, but yeah, I came in and Mike had two things. Mike, my store manager, he first off handed me a letter from Mr. Young, who's our district manager, and was like, first, this is for you. And number two, then he said, would you like to see what you're going to be using from now on? And I was like, yes. And, and he asked me, he's like, you're sure this isn't a disability? And I'm like, it's just a temporary injury. I'm just trying to do what I can to make sure it gets healed. And he was like, darn. And he was like, but come on. And took me to the stock room. And, before we'd been using just like your average plastic stool and stuff. But the problem is those stools were so old, you'd be standing on them, and all of a sudden they would start cracking. And so, it'd be bad if one of those gave out from underneath. And so he was like, ta-da! And we now have these stools that look like shorter versions of stools that like workers use, like electricians and stuff like that. I mean, it looked professional. It was very shiny and stuff, but it has wheels on it. So, well, on one side. So, and then there's a big long handle, so it's like rollaway luggage. So I've been using that for the past few days, and I really like it because I can take it with me. I can grab it. It's a little weird sometimes because, especially like the last few days I worked, we've been dealing with tags because it was our monthly tag day. So we had a bunch of tags to do. And so I had like a cart with all my tags organized on it. So I'm wheeling that along with one hand, and I got my stool with the other hand, and I'm wheeling them both along. And so I think things are getting better. And we hired at least one new person, and we might be hiring another new person. So I think things are getting better that way. I still don't always feel like I belong, I still don't feel like I have any good friends there, or like I can trust anybody 100%, but it's better. Now the other thing I wanted to say is, that I had to do besides change doctors recently, and this is more recent, I had to change my bank. Basically, I've been a Bank of the West customer for years, ever since the early 2000s, before I went to school. Started when I was working for my dad for a while when he had his own little shop. Basically, I was his administrative assistant. I was his office person and stuff. So, which that could make a whole series of videos about on its own. But anyway, so what happened was, we had all our business stuff through Bank of the West, and so so I started doing my personal stuff through there because it makes sense. It would just be easy just to go to one place. For years they were great. They had great customer service. People were awesome. The last great experience I had with them was after Keith and I got married and he went back to England. he basically, I sent him um, I deposited all the checks that people gave us. Because we basically asked, to help us get started and to help me, you know, and to help me go over there, can you gift, can you send gifts of money versus gifts of, you know, stuff that I would have to lug over there or ship over there somehow. So basically what happened was, so I went over there. Like I said, last positive experience was when I went over there and to do the transfer to his bank. And that was interesting because we had to fill out paperwork, and it was funny because the banker gal asked me, "Are you sure you really know him?" and stuff. And it's the same thing as sometimes when I'm at work, or whoever's in the photo has to ask, because we have Western Union back there too, and sometimes we have to ask, are you sure you really know? You sure you really need to send $1,600, or I was like, yes, we're married, they've met, everything. So, which was fine, totally understandable. But yeah, and for the most part, ever since then, I've been mainly doing my stuff online. Like got direct deposit for my paycheck. I normally there are two bills that come out every month, that just get taken out automatically. Um, what else? What else? What else? And I have a debit card. Well, the problem is the debit cards at Bank of the West really aren't that high quality. I mean, I've gone through two debit cards who, after a while, just started not being read by whatever pin pad I'm at, and so they card reader, and so and it ends up, I get used to it. It's like you slide three times, and then they tell you, and now you can swipe it, but enter your pin, but you're done. And eventually, I finally got to the point where I was just like, well, and I have this one coworker who tends to get a little snarky, and it's like you get that fixed. I have a line behind you, and it's like, wow. But yeah, so anyway, I got a replacement card once. Then the same thing started happening with this one. Well, and the second one I think was my fault because the old debit card had like a crack in it. Like the chip was here, and the crack went from here out to here. And so eventually I was like, okay, I'm tired of this, I'm getting this fixed. First time I actually went into my usual branch, which is right up the road here, and said, said what the situation was. Talked to a person. I thought she was getting me taken care of. A month went by. Keep in mind that most of the time they tell you, oh, you only need, you'll get this within a week or within maybe a little bit over a week. A month went by. Hadn't heard anything. So then I decide I'm going to call the same branch. I don't even know if it was the same gal, but I talked to somebody and they were like, oh, well, we'll get you taken care of, I don't even know if she checked to see What the other gal had done, I have no idea. But she typed everything in, sent it out. Again, same thing. And so I'm like, okay. So I'm at work using my old debit card. This was just a couple days later, and it was denied. And of course, it was on a Friday after all of the banks had closed, after all the branches had closed. So I was like, what do I do? Because at that time, I didn't have cash. I didn't, I had no other way of paying. And so I was like, what do I do? And so I went in on my break and I called, because there's an 800 number for them. Called the 800 number, and that's where I found out that my card had been shut down. Not my account, just my card. And it was interesting because the guy who was helping me was very nice, but he was just very much like, there's not much I can do for you. All I can do is make sure you get, I can send you a card out on rush, that you should get in 3 days. And all that. And so the only thing we figured out is that somehow through this whole process, because the address of the number on my house is 9560, somewhere along the road that had gotten switched to 9650. So the middle numbers had gotten flipped over. Again, don't know. It may have been my fault, because I tend to kind of do that myself. I tend to kind of say 9650, and then I'm like, nope, wait, that's 9560. Don't know why. I have no idea. But anyway, so I called. So, he's doing his best to reassure me. He says, we'll get you taken care of. You can still get your money if you have cash, or you can write checks, and I'll get you this card out as soon as possible. So I'm like, that's all that I could do. And so I was like, well, thank you for helping me. Sorry I went a little crazy. And yeah, I didn't yell or anything, but at the same time I was kind of in panic mode. So, and then and then it was just a mess. It was just another mess. Because I went in like a day or so after that, because I had to go to work, and I was like, I just want to get cash, So I stopped into another branch, and they treated me horrifically. The guy who helped me totally ignored me. I wrote out the check. I handed it in for cash. His first word to me was, where's your debit card? And I'm like, I have it here, but I'm trying to give him the short version of what happened. And he's going back and forth, and he's stopped what he was doing with me to go help a dude who pulled up at the drive-thru. And I'm like, there's 2 people back here. You can't, that's rude. I'm so sorry. But that is rude. And so I was just like, and he ended up, the first time, he didn't even give me my cash. He gave me a receipt, but I walked out the door and then realized he hadn't given me my cash. And so I came back in and I was like, I have a receipt from you, but no cash. I need my cash, please. Especially if I don't have a card. And he was just rude. And nobody else even looked up from their desk. Nobody else even was like, seemed to care. And so I went out to the car, and Mom picked me up because she had Shay with her, and so they were gonna go off and do something after they dropped me off, and so I was ranting to her, and I was going, I don't, and she was like, "Why don't you go to Banker's Trust? Why don't you go to the bank me and your dad go to?" And so I was like, "Okay." So that was the other big thing happening in my life. Um, they you know, they helped me out. They were really great, but they got me transferred over to Bankers Trust. I've got all my stuff over there now. And, but yeah, Bank of the West has really gone downhill, and I don't know why. I don't know why it's gone downhill. No idea. No idea, to be honest with you. I don't know if they're under new management. I don't know what's going on, but it's just sad because, like I said, for years they were the best. They were a real great bank. And all of a sudden, their customer service sucks. And yeah, so that's what's been going on in my life, guys. Other than that, everything's starting to run smooth again. Like I said, I've got my stool that I can use at work. I've started physical therapy. I get to do that for like 3 weeks. And they've given me some exercises to do. And so hopefully that'll help. And hopefully, I can keep working at it and we'll see what happens. Anyway, not sure when my next video is going to be. I will do my best to keep you guys updated as much as possible. Nothing really happening as far as the England front. I'm still working on paying off my student loan. I've got a little bit over half of it paid off. And I've been working on that. So, and that was the other thing I had to do. That's it. And it didn't really take that long, but still more of a pain more than anything to be like, gotta go to all my places online. And well, it also turns out that Elder Scrolls Online, which Keith and I play, it was kind of funny because in the midst of all this happening, as things were getting fixed, it was like I got a notification from the dudes who run Elder Scrolls Online, and they were like, "We tried to charge you for your annual Elder Scrolls Online Plus. We could not do that. Please contact us." And so that was easy. I just went in and put in the new card number once I had it and everything. But for a while there, it was just like, really? Can something else come along and just irritate me? Like sand in my skin? But yeah, so. But hopefully, fingers crossed, things are starting to be on the up and up again. And anyway, but yeah, I wanted to update you guys. I wanted to apologize for not being around as much. I've been around, I just haven't been. I've been more commenting on videos lately than I have been making my own. But that's gonna change because I'm not really sure how, but or when, but I'm going to try to do more, at least more of the vlog type channel, like things. Some of them may have to be on my phone, but we'll do what we can. Anyway, guys, it's been a pleasure talking to y'all. Let me know in the comments what you want me to do next, and I will talk to you later. Love you guys. Bye.